2023 might be coming to a close, but that doesn't mean we can't do one more pickups video to end off the year. Let's get into it. Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Botox Games. Happy New Year if you are watching this. I think I'm posting this on New Year's Eve. I'm currently recording a bunch of videos in advance, including some videos that are going up next year. So by the time you're watching this, or by the time I'm even recording it, I've already recorded a bunch of stuff for 2023, because after I record this video, this is all going bye-bye. It is time for this setup to be dismantled in just a couple of hours. So I'm going to try to record a bunch of videos in advance. Anyway, I don't want to bore you with housekeeping stuff. Today we're doing another pickups video, the final one of 2023, and in this pickups video we have a lot of Switch games, a lot of limited run stuff, a lot of Japanese imports, a lot of Black Friday deals, because I did a pickups video at the beginning of December, I believe, or maybe at the end of November, and in that video I included some Black Friday stuff, but not everything had come in yet. It's also worth noting that at the time of making that video, I had acquired so many games in that past couple of months where I wasn't posting pickups videos that I actually just kind of cut half of what I had bought and put it into that video. So some of this stuff I've been sitting on since like October, so not everything here was bought in the month of December. I want you to keep that in mind. It is a lot still. I have a spending problem. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into these recent Switch pickups, starting with Dragon Quest Monsters: The Dark Prince. Now, I did my top 10 Switch games of 2023 video, and I adore Dragon Quest Monsters. I still haven't finished it. I think I'm like 20 hours in, so I'm slowly chipping away at it, but it's a very long JRPG. If you're unfamiliar with Dragon Quest Monsters, this is kind of a Dragon Quest take on the Pokemon franchise, although not really. There's a lot more auto battle elements, and I've really been enjoying getting, kind of accustomed to the synthesizing mechanics, because Shin Megami Tensei has stuff like that, but I haven't played a Shin Megami Tensei game since 4 came out, like back in 2014 or whatever, right? So I haven't played many JRPG monster catching games that actually allow fusion, because I kind of typically just stay in my Pokemon lane. The game does have a lot of performance issues, I will not deny that, but I'm really enjoying it. I just have to shout it out, I did use the website Buy for the first time, not sponsored. I know they sponsor people. If you want to sponsor me, Buy, I will take it. I actually used Buy to buy a Japanese code, because in Japan, they did these exclusive McDonald's-themed monsters. So I've been using those on my team. I don't even know if they're like good monsters. I've just been kind of resynthesizing them and resetting them, and I keep leveling them up, right? But that event is exclusive to Japan, and I think it ends in like a couple weeks, so I didn't want to miss it. It was kind of like a FOMO situation where I was like, I need these McDonald's monsters or my life will be ruined. Basically, that was kind of the ultimatum. But yeah, I'm really enjoying Dragon Quest Monsters, and I highly recommend it if you have not tried it out, if you're a fan of JRPGs and monster catching, like Pokemon type games. Moving on, I got Sonic Superstars in the mail. This was, I think, $25 on Best Buy, but I had a bunch of like Best Buy coupons, so I think I ended up paying $10 for Sonic Superstars. I haven't tried it out yet. I've heard it's not the best, but I figured I should give it a try anyway eventually. Next up, we have the Metal Gear Solid Collection Volume 1. Now, the only reason I picked this up are really multiple reasons, right? I've never played Metal Gear Solid, really. I think I played a little bit of 5, but that's about it. So I've always wanted to get into this franchise, and while I heard this port collection isn't the best, realistically, I'm not going to go back and play them on PS1 or PS2, right? It's just not going to happen. But the reason I picked it up specifically around this time is because it was on sale for, I think, $40 at GameStop, and they had a really good deal on some very niche shmup games that we'll show towards the end of the video, and I wanted to hit free shipping, and free shipping on GameStop is like $80. Like, that's the minimum threshold to hit. That is absolutely stupid. GameStop, I'll give them this. Every game I bought did come sealed. This did come sealed, so shout out to GameStop for that, I guess. Round of applause. Whoop-de-doo. But yeah, GameStop shipping is insane, but I did pick up this for the collection, and I'm excited to try them out. And that's actually pretty much it for new releases, except for a couple of Japanese imports, and then, like I said, the limited run stuff. But I did go back and get a couple of games I was missing from the collection. I got World of Final Fantasy Maxima. This was one of those, like, English-Asian releases from Square Enix. I think I'm missing just a few Square Enix games at this point. Video Games Plus, the GOAT online Canadian retailer, restocked some stuff. Kind of an impulse purchase here, but I got both of these Fate games, so Fate Extella Linked and Fate Extella the Umbral Star. Now, what's interesting is I'm not too sure or too familiar with Fate Extella Link, and I'm definitely not familiar with the Fate series, like, at all. However, I actually bought this game digitally back in, I think, 2017. If I remember, this was like one of the few $60 games that even released on the Switch in 2017. Most games releasing on the eShop at that time were just indie games, right, for 10, 15 bucks. There wasn't that many retail games in 2017, which is kind of hard to think back to. But I picked this up back then, and I believe this is kind of just a Warriors clone, but I like Warriors games, and yeah, I wanted to get a physical copy of it. This one's weird. So Digimon World Next Order, I think this came out in February on the Switch. This is a port of an older Digimon game. Correct me in the comments, I think this was exclusive to Bandai Namco's store. If you look on eBay, copies with the ESRB logo are actually pretty dang expensive. I think there are some European copies listed for a little bit cheaper, but this game is weirdly expensive, and I've never played a Digimon game, but Pokemon fan. I'm really into JRPGs. I think I'd be a Digimon fan if I played it. I also have the, what is it, like a Cyber Sleuths 2-pack or something like that, so I'm not sure what the best starting point would be, but I'm slowly collecting all these Digimon games, knowing one day I will get to them. I was always curious about the port of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. I have conflicted feelings about this game. When they announced that CC2, CyberConnect 2, was making a Dragon Ball Z game, I was through the roof because I love CC2, I love the Naruto Storm games, but then they made this very single-player focused Dragon Ball Z game, which on paper sounds great, but there's a lot of weird mechanics I don't really like. There's a lot of like super guarding and super armor playing through it, so it's a very grindy game, but I don't know. I enjoyed my time with it on PS4, and I've always been curious what the Switch version was like. I also finally finished up my Resident Evil Switch collection, so I got the Resident Evil Revelations collection. This is back from, I think, 2018 when they were still doing whatever that is. But I also got the Resident Evil triple pack from Capcom as well. Now, if you're not familiar with these, what Capcom did for, I think, all three of their Resident Evil collections on Switch, right? They have the Origins collection, they have the Revelations collection, and then they have this triple pack with 4, 5, and 6. All three of them have download codes. So in this case, Resident Evil 4 is on the cartridge, and Resident Evil 5 and 6 are download codes. Now, I'm not a prude when it comes to digital games. I will buy a digital game. PS5 I've been buying digitally for, so I don't really mind that they're digital codes as much as other people. I would prefer if they just gave each game an individual cartridge. I'd pay for that, you know, I'm not opposed to doing that. But I did want to make sure I got a version of this game that actually hadn't used the codes. This isn't a new copy, but I found an eBay listing, I think for like 20 bucks, and the dude specifically said on the listing, hey, the codes are unused, and I was like, oh, easy buy. So I got these, I redeemed the codes, they worked, so now I have every Resident Evil game that is available on Switch that is a native port. I will not do any of that cloud garbage. I'm not streaming games to my Switch. I'm actually a defender of cloud a little bit because I like the PS Portal, but I remember trying, I think, Resident Evil 7 streaming on the Switch back in 2018. Not it, Chief. Definitely not it. And then I also picked up the House of the Dead remake from Microids. I actually got a review code for this game back in 2022. I've never played a House of the Dead game until I played this, and apparently this port sucks, but I enjoyed my time with it. I understand it's a light gun game, but I don't know how they could really convert that to console controls without really kind of compromising on it. I guess Wii was the perfect platform for it, right? But I don't know. As someone who's unfamiliar with the franchise, I enjoyed this. Maybe I need to go back and try out the other versions to see what I'm missing, but I enjoyed what I played of this. Also, this cover is super cool. It's like lenticular. I don't know if that's showing up on camera, but super neat. Oh, also, I meant to show this when I showed the Fate Excella games. The reason, or one of the main reasons I wanted to even place a VGP order was because they restocked these Super Smash Bros. Ultimate controllers from Japan. Now, once again, I'm moving, so I'm going to have a little setup for classic retro consoles and stuff. So I'm actually going to have a GameCube setup very soon. And the only GameCube controller I have, to my knowledge, is my original GameCube controller from like 2004. It's one of those purple controllers, and it is worn to heck because me and all of my siblings used it. So I think this was like 30 bucks. It's an official, you know, new Nintendo GameCube controller, and I just think that's really cool. It's so cool seeing a Nintendo product with the GameCube logo on the back in 2023. Although I think this was manufactured what in 2018? Sure. Wow. Smash Bros. Ultimate was 5 years ago. I don't like thinking about that. Also here, why not, I might as well show this. A website called ArtSwift. I'm very unfamiliar with it. I saw Wario64 tweet it out. They restocked the Hey Pikmin amiibo. And this amiibo is freaking awesome. One of the best amiibo, maybe just the best amiibo. I'm so glad I got this when they restocked it. Now, real quick, before we get back to the interesting Switch games, I do have a nice little stack of stuff I picked up exclusively through Black Friday sales, holiday, you know, extravaganza, all that fun stuff. These were all extremely cheap, so like $15, $10 or less, and pretty much every case here. One of them I just bought because I needed to get my minimum for free same-day delivery on Amazon. so I'm not proud of that. But yeah, I don't have much to say on these, so starting off, we have The Last Worker, Umihara Kawaze Bazooka. This is actually interesting. I am unfamiliar with a lot of these more niche, like extremely niche Japanese franchises. There's a lot of these games on Switch, I think, and apparently it's a series from like the Famicom days or Super Famicom days, so very weird. You know, it's one of those things you don't really think about unless you really dive deep and do your research, but I saw this, and this is actually the game I needed to hit my free same-day delivery on Amazon, so I was like, huh, that looks kind of cool. I've also been, you know, I kind of go for like publisher sets a little bit, so NIS America, Square Enix, Capcom, right? I've recently just kind of coincidentally been getting a lot of stuff from this publisher NN, so not committing to a full set from them, absolutely not, but I just wanted to note that. We got Astronite, Void Terrarium 2 from NIS America, Clive and Wrench, and yes, you might be thinking this is a GameStop sealed copy. This was sealed, according to GameStop, or it was new. It was new according to GameStop, so shout out to them. In Sound Mind Deluxe Edition, Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath. This is a code in the box. I think it was $7 on, not Wish, what's the Woot, Amazon's Woot service. This was like $7. God of Rock, and a PQ game. I very clearly try to stay away from PQ because most of their stuff is just very cookie cutter visual novel games that I am not interested in, but this was very cheap. Adventure Academia, The Fractured Continent. I don't know, man. Oh, also I bought Skull Island, Rise of Kong. Don't ask. Okay, next up, let's go over all of my limited run pickups from this past month. All of these came in, I think, all of these I ordered back in, you know, either September or even further back. So all of this stuff I ordered a very long time ago, paid for a very long time ago. I think going back all the way to like January of this year. So I guess limited run just kind of ramps up production around the holiday season to get as many orders out as possible, which, you know, limited run shipping times, I know it's a controversial topic, but hey, at least they got a lot of this stuff to me before the end of the year. I am still waiting on one order from 2022. I bought the Valis 2, like, Phantasm Soldier Special Edition alongside that, like, nice Oceanhorn bundle, and that hasn't come yet, so I don't know what's going on with that. But anyway, getting into this, this was a distro title. I think I actually bought this through VGP. So first up, we have the Humongous Classic Collection. I didn't actually grow up with these games, but, you know, I've watched a lot of Peanut Butter Gamer in my day, so I've kind of, like, retroactively learned to appreciate Putt Putt and Freddy Fish, and then by, you know, association, Pajama Sam and Spy Fox, so I thought this was kind of a cool, very unique collection, too, for a Switch game. This one's super exciting, the Castlevania Advance Collection. This came pretty quick from Limited Run, I will give them that. This includes Circle of the Moon, Harmony of Dissonance, Aria of Sorrow, and Dracula X. I went for I think this is Harmony of Dissonance, correct? I actually haven't played that many Castlevania games, but it is a franchise, once again, that I know. I'm a freaking Metroid fan, dog. I know this is right up my alley. I just haven't had the time to do it. We got Quake 2 here, going for every id game on the Switch. I love Doom. I've actually never played Quake, but, I mean, it's just like faster Doom, right? So, yeah, I got Quake 2. Slowly getting into more shmups here. I got the Telenet Shooting Collection from Edea. This includes just a collection of older shmup games, which is pretty cool. Gargoyles Remastered. I'll try to say this one right. Kumauju Remilia Scarlet Symphony. So this is another like Castlevania type game, I believe. When I first saw this, I think they showed it in their LRG3 showcase back in the summer. I thought this was an NT Creates game. Like it is so NT Creates coded. It looks so much like a game they would release, but it's actually not. It's from this company Frontier and CFK, it looks like. I think there's also a new game that just came out in this franchise, so unfamiliar with this, but I thought it looked really cool. Trip World Deluxe. So this is from Sunsoft. I'm a huge Sunsoft fan, or at least I'm a huge Blaster Master fan. And by association, I'm starting to branch out a little bit more. And I thought this little game looked really cute. This is a game I always really wanted to play on the PS Vita from Drinkbox, the creators of Guacamelee Severed. I've always heard this is one of like the Vita's best games because it was exclusive for a little bit, but it came to Switch, I think back in like 2017, 2018, and Limited Run funded it a physical release of it, so I had to pick this up. This is a weird one. Getsu Fumiden Undying Moon from Konami. This is a mobile game that came to console, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's just kind of interesting, you know, Konami for so long there was just releasing actually nothing, and then now suddenly we're getting like random new mobile IP, which isn't the most exciting, but also all these collections, and they announced 10 Silent Hill games, so it's cool to see Konami coming back in some fashion, and while this isn't the biggest budget game, I do like the art style, and hopefully we get more original content from Konami soon. Here we have The Good Life. If I'm not mistaken, I think this is made by the guy who made Deadly Premonition. And as a kid, there was a game I loved on the PS2 called A Dog's Life, where you play as a dog and you just do quests as a dog. I don't know if that game was good, but I really liked it as a kid, and this kind of seems similar. You play as a journalist, but then you can also control a cat or a dog, and I like cats a ton, so I thought this looked really cute. I always forget this one came to Switch, the Alien Isolation. This is the collection. I don't know why it's called the collection. Oh, because it includes 7 DLCs. And that is it for Limited Run. However, there was one final thing that came in the mail just today when I'm recording this. I think I ordered this back in August or September, just completely on a whim. Once again, kind of that FOMO thing going on where I was like, this is a very limited product, and it's something that I know I like. I like the games I've played from this list so far, but Annapurna released this super deluxe nice collection. I'll put up a picture on the screen. This was the packaging it came in. The big box you're seeing, that is a Switch case as well as like a cartridge holder, I believe, but the actual game itself is the Annapurna Interactive Collection, and this is just this really nice cardboard box for a bunch of Annapurna games, all, I believe, on one cartridge. I think it's all on one. I Am 8-Bit distributed this, but this has Donut County, which I loved, Gorogoa, Hindsight, I Am Dead, If Found, Kentucky Route Zero, which I've always really wanted to play, Neon White, which I freaking loved, Sayonara Wild Hearts, which I actually already have, Solar Ash, which is from the Hyperlight Drifter devs, I believe, and that one always looks super cool, The Artful Escape, The Pathless, and What Remains of Edith Finch. So this is a super premium collection. Once again, I kind of bought it on a whim, but I'm glad I did because, yeah, of all those games that I've played, which is like only 4 or 5 of them, I really love those games. So I've always wanted to play Gorogoa, and I've always wanted to play Kentucky Route Zero. So this is something I'm very glad I bought, and it was, I think, limited to like 1,000 or 2,000 maybe. So that's a decent amount of copies out there, but I'd imagine this is probably going to get pretty pricey. So I'm glad I decided to buy it when I did. I actually lied, there was one more game from LRG, although I think it was through Video Games Plus, because they had like a big LRG restock. I got the Hyperlight Drifter Special Edition, a game I've never played, but always really wanted to, from Heart Machine, the people that made Solar Ash, so kind of funny that I got both of those in one little pickups video here. All right, now we have a stack of imported stuff, once again from Play Asia. I think all of this is from Play Asia. Now, I actually showed this in the last pickups video, right? This is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with the Booster Course Pass DLC included. Waves 1 through 5 only. Wave 6 was not released when they put this out on market for some reason. And I was like, okay, Nintendo's never going to localize this. They're never going to release an English version of the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass on the cartridge, right? They will never do that. Like, a few weeks later, Late Grasser in the server, shout out, freaking tagged me and was like, hey, there's a World Edition that has an ESRB. So yes, I bought another copy of Mario Kart 8 just to get the damn ESRB in the bottom right, the English on the spine. And the worst part, right? The worst part of this is it's still missing Wave 6. I don't know when this actually released, technically, but it probably could have had Wave 6 on there, right? Now, it is worth noting this is a World Edition, so there still is the possibility that Nintendo will screw me over once again and release a version either A, that has Waves 1 through 6 on the cartridge, or B, actually releases in the US, and I bought these for no reason. It's all fun and good, though. Let's get through some of these imported games. I finally picked up the Etrian Odyssey HD Remaster Collection. This is 1 through 3. Unfortunate that the cover and all that is in Japanese, but it is an English copy. There is English on the cartridge, I should say, so finally got this. Fatal Frame Mask of the Lunar Eclipse, another franchise I've always wanted to get into. I picked up Maiden of Blackwater on Switch, I think at PAX this year. So I wanted to get Fatal Frame 4 finally. And finally, a game I was very excited for, have not finished yet, but I put a couple hours into. Let me see if I can remember the title. Otogi Katsugeki Mamere Bakaru Goemon something or other. This is the new game from the developers over at Goodfeel. If you aren't familiar, they made Yoshi's Crafted World, Woolly World, as well as Kirby's Epic Yarn. So recently, in recent memory, they've been very aligned with Nintendo. They've been making Nintendo games. I don't know what happened with this. Maybe they just wanted to go off and do their own thing. But this game completely bombed, which is very unfortunate because from what I played maybe 3 hours of it. This game is awesome, bruh. I really, really liked what I played of this. It's so unique, so quirky and fun. It really does have that Nintendo charm, which makes me just question even more why Nintendo didn't want to pick it up and publish it. But I don't think this will ever get localized. It doesn't really require that much reading. I was using Google Translate while I was playing to, translate some things. I hope they localize it, and I will be there to support that. But considering how it performed in Japan, I think it sold I think it sold 3,000 copies in its opening week. So I hope Goodfeel is sustainable enough to survive a game of this budget bombing. But we'll see what happens with that. And then we are finally, after all of that, at the end of the Switch portion of this video, and then we have like literally 5 DS games to show. I alluded to these earlier. When I bought Metal Gear Solid Collection, GameStop actually had these weird like 2-packs of these shmup games, so a lot of in stuff here. We have Darius Burst EX, as well as G Darius HD, as well as Cotton Fantasy and Cotton Reboot, all of which are just shmups. I'm unfamiliar with Darius as well as Cotton as franchises, but it's something I want to learn more about because there's a ton of these games on Switch. All right, now let's take a look at the 3DS/DS games that I bought over the past couple of months. I'm going to do a separate video in the new year talking about why in more depth why I'm buying DS games right now, so I won't, bore you with that in this video. But I picked up Dragon Quest Monsters Terry's Wonderland 3D, I think is the name for this. This is a remake of the first Dragon Quest Monsters, and when I was getting into Dragon Quest Monsters The Dark Prince on Switch, I was like, oh, I should buy this. Because I did some research, and there is a fan English patch for this game, I think, as well as pretty much every other Dragon Quest Monsters game on 3DS. So this is something I'm very, very interested in playing. And that's actually it for 3DS games, but we have some DS games here. 100 Classic Books. I bought this for a reason you will see in a short at some point. And then these next 3 I actually bought because I was playing the Another Code demo on Switch when that released back in the middle of December, and I freaking love the demo. So I went back, did some research, and was looking at like those more niche DS games that people always kind of talk about, but they're definitely more niche, but they have, their kind of cult following. So I went back and I actually bought Trace Memory for the DS, and I actually played through this. It's only like a 4 or 5 hour game. I love this game. Some of the puzzles are a little archaic and maybe not the most intuitive, but I really enjoyed the story, and I cannot wait for Another Code Recollection in January. But alongside Trace Memory, I also bought the other game that Sing released on the DS, Hotel Dusk Room 215. There's some like sun fading. I didn't notice that in the listing. I probably would have not bought this copy had I seen that, but that's fine. I'm really excited to play this as well. This is another like detective story using puzzles, and this is one of those unique games where you hold the 3DS like a book, and it has like this really cool art book sketch styling to it. So excited to play through that because they're remaking Another Code. I don't know if Hotel Dusk is something they would be super eager to remake. Hopefully, that'd be cool, but I'll probably be playing this very soon. And then finally, I bought Elite Beat Agents, a game I have heard nothing but good things about. A game I remember seeing in stores back when I was a kid, but it was just something I never thought to pick up. And over the years, it's really gained a huge cult following. People, when they talk about Elite Beat Agents, are normally talking about how it's one of the best DS games. And I thought this was something I should definitely experience because, once again, I don't really know if they would want to port this or remake it, considering it uses the touchscreen so much, right? So that is it for this pickups video, except there's actually some Christmas stuff. I do want to say, I think this might be my biggest pickups video ever. I think starting next year, I'm going to try to do just one a month, every month at the end of the month. And I want to really dive into each game a little bit more, have a smaller selection of games, but really talk about them. Maybe do something like Mystic does with his PlayStation Collection updates, where he like puts the prices up and all that. I think that's really cool and just kind of helps you understand how much money's going into it, and just really dive more, even more in depth to which games I'm buying and why. But with that said, we do have 2 Christmas presents that I got here from my girlfriend, a DS game and a Game Boy Advance game. So I had no idea what she bought me. She wrapped it in this really cute, like, Kirby wrapping paper. And for some reason, I convinced myself, I was like, oh, she probably got me, like, I don't know, Kirby's Adventure on the NES or Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn on 3DS, because she's very in tune with what I have and don't have and what I need or / want for my Nintendo first-party collection. But she completely surprised me and got me 2 games that I have been wanting for a very, very long time. One of them she bought back, I think, like, maybe a month ago before Christmas, and at the time, I wasn't, like, super thinking about it, but then at a certain point, like a week before Christmas, I got this like weird itch to really dive into this franchise, and I almost bought the game for myself, so luckily we avoided that happening. But she bought me Rhythm Heaven for the DS. Now, Rhythm Heaven is a franchise that I have always really loved. I played this game back in the day on the DS, but as a kid, you gotta sell games to get more games, and at some point I sold it. Same thing with Rhythm Heaven Fever, possibly one of my biggest selling regrets of all time, because that game is so expensive. And then Rhythm Heaven Mega Mix didn't get a physical in America, but even Mega Mix, I think it did get a physical in Europe, and that's super expensive. But having Rhythm Heaven again on the DS, I've been playing this all week, and it is just such a treat to go back to. So huge shout out to Olivia for buying me this for Christmas. And then the final thing she got me, I could not believe my eyes when I opened it, to be honest. It's something that, like, she's gotten me a lot of complete in-box Game Boy games in the past for presents, right? I think for my birthday this year, she got me Zelda 2, the NES Classic Series, complete in-box for GBA. And when we first started dating, I had said, like, one of my ultimate collecting goals would be to have a complete Zelda collection. Specifically, one of my favorite Zelda games is the Minish Cap on the Game Boy Advance. Well, she went crazy hard this year and got me a complete copy of the Minish Cap. I really couldn't believe it. There's a very few cosmetic flaws on this box, but nothing that I really care about. On the back here, there's like a little indentation, but this is complete in here, and it is definitely my most prized possession in my game collection now. Shout out to her for buying that for Christmas for me. I did not expect her to go so hard with Rhythm Heaven and Minish Cap, so yeah, I could not be happier with those gifts. And that is going to do it for this pickups video. Let me know in the comments below, what did you get for the holiday season, and what have you picked up for your personal collections in general? I would love to get a discussion going down in the comments below. And I think this is the last video I'm uploading in 2023. So once again, Happy New Year. I hope you are all having a good one. I hope you all had a happy holiday season. And I look forward to posting and seeing and talking to you all in the new year. Until next time, folks, peace.